If you've been thinking about doing a track day, the first questions you're probably asking yourself is, do I have the right gear? And if you don't, how much is it going to cost to get there? Here's what I want you to know before we get into it. Most riders overestimate what's needed to get started. I hope this video helps you better understand what is important. We'll get into that in a few minutes, because it may change how you think about your bike and your gear. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Track days are expensive. I've seen that come up in the comments since my last video, and I want to address that directly. A typical entry fee here in the Northeast United States for a track day is around $250 to $350. I know that can vary around the United States and around the world. But if you put that up against a day at the ski slopes, a round of golf at a decent course, or a weekend at a sporting event, you're in exactly the same ballpark. The difference is you come home a better rider, and that's a skill you can take with you every time you ride for the rest of your life. Not many hobbies can say that, especially golf. So a track day entry fee is pretty reasonable when you look at it this way. There's another investment involved before you can get to the track, and that's gear. And this is actually where I want to spend most of the time on this video, because getting this right matters a lot more than people realize. The good news is, just like the entry fee, the real numbers may surprise you. And here's the thing, unlike that lift ticket or round of golf, the gear you buy for your first track day goes with you from that point on. It's not a one-day expense, it's an investment in your safety on every ride. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to helping street riders get to the track safely and confidently. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please hit subscribe. I've got a lot more coming on this topic. Let's start with the piece of gear that matters more than anything else, and that is the helmet. The helmet is the most important piece of gear you'll own, and if you're going to spend money, this is where I'd spend it. Most track day organizations require a helmet that meets either SNELL or ECE certification. A standard DOT helmet typically won't pass inspection, and it's really not the best choice anyway. So before you show up, check that out with your organization. Make sure if you have a DOT helmet that it will pass. Most likely it won't. I personally run this Shoei RF 1400, which is a good quality helmet that meets the certification requirements. For a beginner, I'd suggest budgeting between $400 and $600 on a quality helmet. Don't cut corners here. I personally like Shoei because of the way it fits my head. Everyone's head is slightly different shape. So go try a few on from different manufacturers and see what fits you best. Most of the major manufacturers make good quality mid-level helmets that will fit these requirements. Shoei, Arai, AGV. You want to make sure the helmet fits properly. If you go to a quality shop that sells gear, someone will be able to help you with this. If not, check out some fitment videos from companies like Sport Bike, Track Gear, or Revzilla. They do some excellent videos on fitment. The last important thing I'll mention here on helmets is that they have a manufacturer date on them. A lot of track day organizations won't let you ride in a helmet that's over 5 years old. The manufacturer date is typically found under the padding, either at the top of your head or in the cheek liner. So make sure when you buy a helmet you're getting something current. And please do yourself a big favor. Don't buy a used helmet, even if it's a great deal on a high-end model. If you're buying a discontinued or closeout model, make sure you ask for the manufacturer date. This is really important. You don't want to buy a helmet that's already a couple of years old. It is a significant investment. Unfortunately, you do have to upgrade them every 4 or 5 years. So that's helmets covered. Now let's talk about the piece of gear that a lot of riders get confused about, and that's the suit. Most people assume you need a one-piece leather race suit, which is what I personally wear. This Alpine Stars leather one-piece. The reality is most track day organizations will allow a two-piece jacket and pants as long as it has a zipper that goes around the full circumference. A partial zipper typically won't pass. For a beginner, a two-piece is a perfectly acceptable way to get started, and it has the added benefit of being able to use it on the street as well. Entry-level two-piece suits from reputable brands like Held, Revit, Alpine Stars start at around $400 to $600 for the pair, and will pass inspection without any issues. I found my first suit this day in EC for around 600 bucks on eBay. It was brand new, still in the package. It was $1,000 to $1,200 suit back in that time. The only reason I upgraded is because I bought an airbag vest when I started racing, and it didn't really fit in this suit. But as you can see, it's still in great shape. This suit's 15 years old. This is a place you might consider buying something used. If I were to list this, I'd probably ask 300 bucks for it, and it's got plenty of life left in it. I never went down in it, so there's no scuffs or scrapes on it. Really a good suit. One last note, if you decide to buy a one piece, the fitment can be a little tricky on these. You can try on a suit that fits perfectly, but when you stand up straight in it, it feels really tight in the crotch. One-piece suits are cut to match your body when you're in a tucked position on a sport bike. So don't be surprised if you try on a suit that actually fits but feels really tight when you stand up and not comfortable at all in the crotch. That's just how they're made. Again, the best thing here is go try a few suits on, have someone help you out with fit. And if you can't do that, check out Revzilla or Sport Bike Track Gear. 2 down, 2 to go. The next 2 are quicker, but don't let that fool you. Getting either one of these wrong may make you fail tech inspection before you ever get out on the track. Boots are next, and a lot of riders underestimate what's required. You need a dedicated motorcycle boot that covers and supports your ankle. A regular sneaker or casual boot won't pass. I've run these CDs for 15 years. Again, they're in pretty good shape. This is a dedicated track boot. This isn't totally necessary. But for a beginner, a quality street motorcycle boot that covers and supports your ankle is completely acceptable. You don't need to go full race boot on day one. Budget somewhere between $150 to $250 on a good quality boot. Once again, the boots I purchased 15 years ago are still holding up, so they last a long time if you buy good quality gear. Gloves are the final requirement. And the requirements are pretty straightforward. A full gauntlet glove that covers your wrist. I run these Racer brand gloves. They're a nice glove, they fit, they're very soft. And as you can see, you want to make sure it covers your wrist completely. No skin exposed at a track day. But a street gauntlet glove is perfectly acceptable. I'd budget somewhere between $150 and $250 for a decent set of gloves. I ran these held gloves for 14 or 15 years, and they actually held up incredibly well. The fingers started going last year, so that's why I replaced them with the Racer brand. But again, good quality stuff, it'll last a long time. As long as you go with a reputable brand, you're going to get something decent. Now let's talk about what's recommended, but not always strictly required. A back protector is something I'd strongly recommend, even if your track day organization doesn't strictly mandate it. Many suits come with a built-in back protector, but a standalone protector adds meaningful protection for a relatively low cost. I'd budget between $75 and $150 for a decent standalone protector. I ran this Knox protector for years before I purchased my airbag. It's a good quality unit. I think this was around 120 bucks when I purchased it. Some track day organizations would like to see you wear a chest protector too. I've never run into that, but I've heard that's the case. It's worth checking with your organization before you go out. I want to briefly touch on one other option, and that's gear rental. A lot of track day organizations and riding schools will have rental equipment available for first-timers. It's worth asking if that's available when you register. It can be a way to try a track day without committing to a full gear purchase. That said, gear is something you can use every time you ride, so it's never a wasted investment. Now before we get into the actual numbers, I want to talk about one more thing that's worth mentioning. Walk through any bike show or browse any forum. You'll see people spend $300 to $1,000 on a slip-on exhaust. They get you maybe 2 extra horsepower. $500 on frame sliders, $200 on bar end mirrors. The list goes on and on. I do it myself now, but my gear came first. There's nothing wrong with personalizing your bike. We all do it. But if you're honest about it, most of those modifications don't do anything to help you as a rider. Quality gear, on the other hand, directly protects the rider. A good quality helmet has done more for my confidence and safety on the track than anything I've ever bolted on my bike. This is probably the best return on investment you can make as a rider. So let's talk about what this actually costs for a first timer starting from scratch. Here's a solid entry-level estimate. Helmet, $400 to $600. Suit, $400 to $500 for a two-piece or a decent used one-piece. Boots, $150 to $250. Gloves, $80 to $150. Back protector, $75 to $150. That puts a solid entry-level setup somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 for quality gear that will last you a long time. Now I know that sounds like a significant investment, and it is, but if you're a rider passionate about motorcycling, you're going to spend that money on gear anyway. This just gives you gear that's specifically appropriate for the track. And as I mentioned, compared to most modifications we do to our bikes that don't really help us any as a rider, this is money far better spent. One final thought, I invested in quality gear right from the beginning and I have no regrets. As I mentioned, good quality gear lasts a long time. That being said, there's nothing wrong with starting out with entry-level gear and upgrading as time goes on and track riding becomes a bigger part of your life. Here's the bottom line. Getting properly geared up for the track is a real investment, but it's an investment in you as a rider, not in your bike. In the next video, I'm going to walk through what it takes to get your bike prepped for the track. And just like gear, it's probably less complicated than you might think. If this video is helpful, please hit subscribe. If you have any gear-specific related questions, drop them in the comments below. I read every one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.